friends, welcome back to another episode of Creating Things Together. I'm Christina. This is James.
Hi.
We are not in our apartment. We're in Miami, Florida. This is my grandmother's patio. I grew up in this backyard, and we decided to record a podcast out here because we post podcasts every week, and when we're traveling, that's no exception. So if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe if you like to listen to us speak about creative topics.
And when you're in South Florida, the only way to record a podcast is in the humidity.
Yes, and it feels so good on my skin.
So you pardon any extraneous noises. There was a bird chasing a cat a second ago. We might be in a flight path of approaching planes
Airport.
to Miami International Airport. So we'll consider that a lovely ambiance, almost like an immersive NPR story or something of that sort.
Yeah, I think they're doing construction behind us. It's exciting. So these last couple of weeks, we have been kind of all over the place on the East Coast. That's an exaggeration. We've been in South Carolina and now Florida. South Carolina was primarily to visit family. James and I went on a little bit of a mission in Charleston to explore and get a vibe of the city. Did you like Charleston?
I thought Charleston was fantastic. It was a very interesting place. It reminded me just a little bit of Annapolis, which is our favorite port town thus far until we visit Europe.
Yeah.
The construction has really ramped up in the background.
I know, they're getting pretty eager about what they're hammering.
Chopping down some palm trees here to make some palm soup.
It's a Miami delicacy.
That's a thing.
So one of the things that I didn't like about Charleston was all of the freaking idiot college kids that ran everything. It's like a city. I'm sure that there's positive things about Charleston, but my impressions when we went, there were just a bunch of stupid college kids that didn't really know how to do customer service. Yeah. And you know what? They're learning.
I gotta be honest, I didn't get a particularly friendly vibe from Charleston. My phone just recognized my face from way off. That's amazing.
Thanks, Apple.
But would it recognize it if my face was wet? Oh. But yeah, I didn't get a particularly friendly vibe, which in South Carolina, it's somewhat known for very friendly people. I mean, if you go to where I grew up, everybody's pretty nice. You know, you're going to be able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, and they're going to smile at you, perhaps, and generally relatively nice people. Charleston was not so much that. Yeah. Maybe we just went to the wrong parts
downtown,
but it just didn't feel particularly warm. But we got on a ferry. We went to visit the USS Yorktown and USS Laffy
Taffy,
which is an interesting name for a ship that went to war. But it's not spelled like laughing. We hung out around the marina. Christina got her sailing buzz itch scratched a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And it was, I really enjoyed it. I got a couple of really solid photos out of it that I've been sharing to my Instagram at James the Red. And now we're in South Florida. We've been here for 4 or 5 days. Yeah,
traveling has put us in a kind of interesting pickle conundrum, which is what we're going to talk about today, which is how the hell are we doing it? And your answer is as good as mine, folks. Thanks for watching or listening. Goodbye.
That's what it feels like some days, is like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're the only people who tend to travel this way, but we like to book ourselves with activities. And
guys, when you're out and about, you want to be out and about. So get all your out and about things done.
Yes. We're gonna get to that topic specifically, yes, I think.
But you had something else you wanted to talk about that you were so passionate and so eager about.
Today?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, when we were in Starbucks today, we found a nice little Starbucks that wasn't too loud, and that's another issue we've been struggling with here in South Florida. And I'm sure it's amplified in New York City for sure, or California. But and it's nice when you go to small towns with Starbuckses, because a lot of times you can find a much quieter Starbucks. But Starbucks is a pretty hopping place, so it can be difficult. Anyway, we were in a Starbucks today in Were we on Key Biscayne at this point?
We were indeed on Key Biscayne.
We were on Key Biscayne, right off the coast of Miami, the city part of Miami.
The state of Miami.
The city-state of Miami. Truly another country. in many respects. All of South Florida. It could split off.
Yo, James, it's hot. I don't know if I could do this for an hour. Like, I love the humidity, but my fingernails are sweating.
We should get one of those fan things, and we can spritz some mist. But yeah, we were
in Starbucks, a quiet one, and it was nice.
Hey, don't rush me. We were in Starbucks on Key Biscayne, and there was this guy that walked in, and he was just full of energy. He was full of positive motivation within his loins, and he initiated
super positive for somebody who woke up at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, he initiated a conversation with us, and we ended up speaking with him off and on. He was working right next to us for a couple of hours, and he also makes YouTube videos, and he just really had a nice disposition about him. He was a very positive fellow. He would literally jump up and down with excitement at certain points. We ended up in one of his videos, and we spoke about all sorts of interesting things. He said a lot of good stuff. He was one of those people who are loaded up with good statements towards making your life better. I love when I run into people like that.
He's going to be moving to Spain pretty soon, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Let's go to Spain.
And he came from Japan.
Yeah.
He would randomly start speaking Japanese.
Yeah, and I had no idea what was going on. I just smiled.
He had this hilarious obsession with, instead of saying "hey guys," saying "hey ladies and gentlemen."
He didn't even say "hey." He just goes "ladies and gentlemen."
Oh, right.
What are you guys, what are you ladies and gentlemen doing?
Right. He tried really hard to, every time he said guys, he would catch himself and fix it. He was just a really interesting fellow. And I love running into interesting people, because you run into a lot of people who are just kind of the same as other people, and it's like, I'm sure they're up to, fun things in their life.
You run into a lot of pigeons, but not a lot of eagles.
Unique people tend to do unique things. And when I run into somebody with a unique personality, I go, this person's, they're grabbing life by the balls.
Did you get what I said?
What'd you say?
You run into a lot of pigeons, but not a lot of eagles. Oh, you got to seek out the eagles. That was a phrase that he came up with.
And then he was like, I don't mean to offend anybody by calling them pigeons.
It's like, we can call them osprey.
But anyway, at the end, he said, what did you mention a second ago? That was like something he said. I forget what it was.
He speaks Japanese all the time.
No, there was something he said that, anyway.
The eagles and pigeon thing.
Maybe I'll remember it later. He was a nice guy, and it was just, I thought it was really nice that we had this serendipitous moment out of nowhere with a guy who we could sit down and have a little conversation with on Key Biscayne.
Yeah, and super cool guy.
And those types of experiences tend to attract themselves to when you're out of your comfort zone or you're in a new place. It's like you can spend, like in Salt Lake City, we could go to a Starbucks 50 times and never run into somebody, but then you go take a trip somewhere new, and then all of a sudden you have these weird experiences that are unique and meaningful in your life. And I thought that was really cool. So anyway, good to meet you, sir. Best of luck on your YouTube channel. We got his information, so maybe we'll speak to him once again. So we want to talk about working together while we travel and keeping up with work while we travel.
Yes, guys.
This is our current conundrum.
Oh Jesus! Leading up to a trip, I love traveling and I love doing this whole thing, and I'm trying to find a better workflow for us. My solution is to get ahead, and then while you're traveling, there won't be so much pressure to edit and upload a YouTube video because you already have one in the queue. Great. Planning the videos, planning the content, planning the places that we're going to shoot photos. I want all of that work to be done ahead of time, but for some reason we can't do that, or we haven't done it yet.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard, especially when we're in Salt Lake. A lot of times we are working on our freelance stuff. Yeah. That is what funds these adventures.
There's a lot that has to be done just without trying to do the extra stuff. Right. So it's easy just to spend all your time doing the stuff that you have to prepare. What I mean by a lot has to be done, I mean the stuff that you have to do naturally to prepare for a trip, like clean your apartment, or get all your freelance affairs in order. Yeah.
On top of all of that, while we're traveling, we are traveling. So we're exploring, and we're here to work, but we're also here to film. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to find the balance in that. I know it exists because they're using a chainsaw or a handsaw or whatever.
I think it's a bandsaw. I think
that's the one that you like cut wood with and you cut your finger off, right? Yeah. So I know
that's the one Will Sasso chopped his fingers off in that sketch of Mad TV.
Okay.
He would be like the Santa guy, and then he would always like stick his hand through a freaking saw, and blood would splat everywhere. It's so funny.
That's dark humor.
It's hilarious. It's
I know that balance exists because
Happy Tree Friends. That's what it was.
I've seen people do it. Hello, airplane. Do you guys hear that? Let's just take a listen to the airplane.
I'm angling my mic to the airplane.
Oh. And that travel was brought to you by Miami International Airport. I know the balance exists because people do it, and it's all about finding your own flow. And that's what we are finding our flow through. This past week, the way that we've gone about it, which is not my preference, we tried it though, was working in the morning and then in the afternoon shooting. I don't think that's going to work for us. I think, I don't know if this is going to work for us, but we're going to try to do next week.
This is a good plan, by the way, what you're about to bring up.
We're going to shoot in the morning, edit during the heat of the day, and then shoot in the afternoon. Cross your fingers and your butts that works out. Let us know if you guys have any better ideas, because I am all ears at this point. I'm hoping that works.
No, I think that's a solid, mentally refined idea, because we watch our friends Riley and Alana on Sailing La Vagabond, and they seem to do that. They seem to employ that. They live on a sailboat. They live in the Caribbean. It's hot in the day. They seem to kind of go about their day that way, and I think that's quite interesting.
We have other internet friends, Birdie and Emily. They do very similar. But
really?
They go hardcore. They like sleep 4 hours. I'm not trying to sleep 4 hours when I'm going on an adventure.
Sleep is good.
I appreciate my sleep.
Yeah.
I appreciate your sleep because
I'm sure you really appreciate my sleep.
We all know what happens when James doesn't sleep. Fire.
This guy, and the guy we met today, he said he sleeps like 4 hours every single night, and he can't get himself to sleep more than that. Like,
that's crazy.
Something's wrong with his body. He was such an interesting person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that
he's like, I woke up at 3 a.m. I was like, why would you do that?
I asked him, like, do you normally wake up at 3 a.m.? Because he was just bringing up a random story about him waking up at 3 a.m. And he said, no, sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m.
Yeah. That would be rowdy. Let's try that tomorrow.
We could do that for one day.
We could do that for half a day.
So I wanted to...
Kudos to you.
I one of the things that I naturally lean to immediately when everything starts to go crazy is building a routine, because routines are so powerful in my life. And I say that as somebody who does not build... What's happening on the roof? I say that as somebody who's not really amazing at routines, but somebody who just thrives on the journey of trying to create a better routine all the time. So I don't feel particularly good at it. Hopefully I am if you looked at it from an external viewpoint, but I'm just doing my best. And that's kind of where we're coming from with this entire topic.
Yeah. Guys, if you're here to listen to advice on like what you should do, it's time for you to leave. Goodbye.
What you should do. It's what we're trying and hoping for the best with.
We have other podcasts that we feel proficient at when we speak about the things, but this one is a very relevant and what are we doing kind of conversation. So James likes to build a routine. Dude, I just like to put my head down and get work done. And if I'm overwhelmed, then I've got 3 more days of it and I just need to push through it. That doesn't work very well with James. I feel like you should be able to do that in certain circumstances. That's probably...
There's a place for grit.
There's a place for grit. That's how I handle these things. There's certain points where it's like, okay, I need to just sit down and reset. That's very important. James would call it nourishment during battle. So I think his routine is his nourishment. Finding
nourishment to go to battle.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Nourishment to go to battle.
Excuse you.
Thank you. Thank you for excusing me.
You're excused.
Thank you. You know, he's an introvert, so he needs to be in a dark room at all times. And I really crap on introverts, don't I?
Well, I just will need to defend my position momentarily.
Putting his head in a Ziploc baggie is his favorite activity.
Yeah, that's where he's painted and dark.
That's like, where he's the most alone.
Black paint on it, spray paint it, and then put it over my head.
He doesn't even have oxygen to keep him company.
Right.
It's just...
Well, the oxygen keeps you on a state of fight or flight. The lack of oxygen.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it. So you put yourself in a position where you can barely breathe, and then you're constantly in this state of fight or flight. So when real situations come that are dangerous, unlike the one where you're stuck in a plastic bag, which are it's just, I mean, come on, that's not dangerous. That won't kill you. That's never killed anybody.
Did it all the time breathing. When I was little.
Yeah. You'll be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that point in a minute. I just wanted to talk. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before I spoke about my side of this really quick?
About the routines?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, so what I realized I learned something new every single trip I go on. And that's one of the things I love about traveling is it puts you in a state where you're actually doing stuff that's more... Are you turning yourself down?
I'm turning myself down so the distraction of the chainsaw or bandsaw doesn't...
You know that we have an editing software, right?
I'm editing in real life.
Oh, okay. So one of the things that traveling does is it keeps you off balance consistently because your routine gets flipped upside down, right? Now, as you travel more, that dissipates a little bit because you get better at managing that. But that's one of the allures of traveling is that it's you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You're doing something that's feels different. You're in a different place. You're talking to different people. People might not speak your language. It's challenges, daily challenges. And so that part is the battle part of the statement you made earlier that I wrote down, which is, and also what I think is a good idea is to use a time in the day, mornings are generally good, to nourish yourself before you go into that battle of the day, right? Right. Before you go into the challenge, the big C challenge of the day. And routine is something that on this trip let's just say I was reminded in a fresh way that routine is important. It's important to create a system for yourself when everything has shifted. Your entire environment has shifted. You need to sit down and figure out what your routine is going to be so that you can weather that adversity. And for us, that can be many things. I mean, for us, meaning us, we need to be able to communicate effectively, and we need to also be able to listen to each other effectively, which can be difficult. I always want to not only communicate, but listen well to you, and have the energy to deal with us planning together and doing things like you might do something that I selfishly don't want to do so much, and I have to be prepared to deploy the energy to work with you on that. And so what I would say to somebody who's going on a trip anywhere, especially if it's a new place that's going to push you, is to immediately upon getting there, or even before getting there, really start planning out a routine for yourself while you're there.
Yeah.
So that you can, if you're an introverted type person, you need alone time, so you can have that alone time. If you need exercise, find a way to exercise. Be prepared that your mind is going to tell you, I don't have my normal set of tools at my disposal to exercise, so you have to kind of like figure out how you're going to exercise in a new way.
Do you think that we did routine well on this first half of the Florida trip? Because I say, well, you can guess my answer.
Oh, you think we didn't?
I have not been satisfied with whatever routine we've tried this time around.
I've
gotten nothing done this week.
It's been, for me, it's such a short time period from starting this trip to now,
yeah,
that every day has been me just fighting to maintain the routine. That's what I mean by like battle. It's like me trying to make things align.
Yeah, but you have to find a routine that works before you fight to maintain it.
But I have an idea in my head of what's going to work. I just haven't been able to execute on it.
Yeah, that hasn't worked for us.
It depends on what you mean by work for us. Like, I feel much better today emotionally than I did in maybe the first couple of days. Like, the first day was a nightmare. It was just full of logistics.
The only thing that went wrong on the first day was Enterprise.
I'm talking about how I felt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if you think about it rationally, the only thing that went wrong was Enterprise. And that was only a 3-hour hiccup. And we just edited during that time.
Right. But I felt very off balance.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. You just, like, these things are going to go wrong.
Absolutely.
You can't allow these things to put you off balance.
I agree. So your philosophy is, we'll speak to if you think a routine is important to begin with, but your philosophy for dealing with the day is don't necessarily worry about the stuff that's going to nourish you up front. Just take on the day, and when the challenges come, punch them in the face over and over.
Yeah. Deal with it.
Okay.
That's kind of how I go about it.
I just don't... I
feel like I get more done.
Okay. I think that there needs to be a part of the day where you are feeding yourself to go into battle.
Yeah. For me, that happens at the end of the day.
Okay.
But I know
think if
for
you didn't,
I know
would
for
show,
you. I know for
right?
you that happens in the beginning of the day, which is such a fun conundrum to balance.
Well, it happens all throughout the day, but
primarily, if you don't have your mornings, it is on like Donkey Kong.
It's not really. Mornings are important to me, but it's more about getting the stuff I need at whatever point in the day, and I just pick mornings because mornings are a good time. Almost everybody takes a part of their morning. Everybody who's done something meaningful in life takes a part of their morning to go exercise or read or do what, you know what I mean?
But it's like if you break down the day into time blocks, the morning can't last until 10 a.m.
Agreed.
That's a problem. Like, we should be done with our stuff by 10 a.m.
Totally. Yeah.
And then moving on. So I'm interested to see how this next chunk of time works.
I'm always trying to execute a theory in my head, and I'm trying to do little.
Oh, a breeze. Feel it.
Beautiful. Oh, yes.
It wasn't like hot breath.
Flies away for a moment. Yeah, I'm always... I agree with part of your idea, which is when life comes, like, bear down and get through it and figure it out, right? Totally cool. Grit's important. But I think, like I said, that you need, on a daily basis, if we're looking at life as a marathon, you want to serve yourself so that you can serve others out of the overflow.
Yeah.
And I think that you will do what you need to do throughout the day with joy and creativity when you operate that way versus just hanging on.
I'm not suggesting just hanging on, but yeah, I think we're saying the same thing.
So what do you think about nourishment? Should you do that?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
I think you should, but you're not going to have, everything is not like, what is it in science where everything is like a control? Everything's not going to be controlled.
Absolutely. I agree.
And you have to be, if you're wanting to travel, you need to be able to accept the fact that this is not going to be controlled. So if you need to fill yourself in 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, figure it out. You need to do that kind of self-discovery on, okay, I don't have an hour. I don't have 2 hours to get my ish together. So I need to find this 5 minutes of time and make it really efficient.
Yeah.
That's what I think needs to happen. That's how I would go about it.
That's fantastic. And I don't disagree with that. I think there are times in life where that's all you have. I think particularly of like motherhood, like single moms who have like 5 kids that they have to get to school and they have to feed them and all of that stuff. They have very little time to take care of themselves, and
but they still manage.
A lot of people will end up like going to counseling, and then they'll come to the end result that the mom has like not taken care of herself in like 5 years.
No,
right?
But sometimes the mom does, because she knows how
the
to maintain.
Loudest plane in
Holy
existence is flying over right now.
Okay, I think
that was like a prop plane too. Must have been flying slow and low.
Say hello to World War II.
That's what they called me in high school, slow and low.
You were homeschooled.
Yeah.
It's a sad day. Anyway, let's move on, because I think we've kind of beat this topic to death.
No, okay. We can move on.
So this is where I'm at.
Take what you want from these thoughts.
Yes, this is where I'm at from this week. I've learned that we have been doing the wrong work, and it's great because really the bulk of our work comes tomorrow and the next couple of days. We're going to the Keys. We're going to be doing this thing called Creative Expeditions. Subscribe to this podcast and turn on post notifications. That doesn't exist. But subscribe to the podcast, because next episode we're going to be talking about the Creative Expeditions, what our plans are. You guys are invited to travel with us. That's not what we're talking about right now. I think we have been doing the wrong kind of work this week, and I'm glad that I see that. It's come to light. In terms of really hardcore video editing, a great example is our YouTube channel. There's no reason that I should be having to think about uploading a video tomorrow when I should be completely focused on what I'm filming tomorrow. We're here to shoot photos, film videos, do the whole thing for this creative expedition. So that's what we should be focusing on. And I'm learning, it's a very recent development in my creative experience, I guess. I'm learning that when I'm on these trips with a specific task, I need to be doing the right kind of work. And this past week, I feel like we've been doing the wrong kind of work, and that's been consuming our time in a way that it shouldn't. We can edit hardcore videos in Salt Lake in our apartment when we're not traveling. Right. We need to be shooting. We should shoot 7 videos. I only have, I think, 3 or 4 on the menu, but we should have had, we're not doing the right kind of work, in my opinion.
Right. So,
and this is a very
you're good,
active conversation that's happening right now. So this is more of a behind the scenes, as opposed to, this is what we've learned. This is what we are learning.
We're literally in the middle of this trip.
We're in the trenches at the moment. So
according to what you've expressed to me, someone just got their leg chopped off, probably. I
Goodbye.
think right there. That sounded like a snapping femur. According to what you've told me, the wrong work within the context of this trip is editing and logistical. The right work should be shooting.
The right work should be creative. We should be out.
But editing is creative.
Not that kind of creative.
Okay. Different creative.
Yes. Logistical, all of that stuff, we should have done beforehand. And what I didn't want to happen is somewhat happening. And whenever we're traveling, this is the time to course correct very quickly. And we have to shift the boat. We have to tack the sailboat. Now,
I don't know if any of you Reddites out there listening feel the same way.
That sounds like a disease.
It's a religion. But when I hear we shouldn't be filming 4 videos, we should be filming 7 videos, I get anxious.
But that's because we haven't prepared properly.
Yeah, well, sure.
That's our fault.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I'm saying that to say one of the things I appreciate about you is the way your mind works is lovely, because it's very big. It's very, you have a lot that you want to get done.
I've got plans, guys.
In your mind, it's like, well, why can't we do all of it? And
there's no reason. Yeah, there's no reason that we should not be able to do all of it.
Now, I think sometimes the weakness that you can run into is like, let's be practical and let's do less things well, as opposed to more things not so well.
We do more things as well.
What do you mean? You want to do more things also well.
We have the potential.
Sure. Yeah, maybe so. But anyway, I like that about you. But I think we're different in the sense that like I like a workflow that is built on routine, like I said, where I can continue to do what I'm already doing, but better. Like I like that. That to me is the challenge that I'm going after on a daily basis. With you, it's just always expansive. Let's go forward. Let's do better, right? And that is awesome for me. This is this whole creating things together that we talk about on here, and this thing we do as a marriage. That's one of the many ways that we've spoken about and we'll continue to speak about, where you grow me, is that you have this huge you have this huge motor to do more and more and more and more and more, and you push me through that.
Yeah.
My hope is that I can contribute something to you as well.
Get ready, because you're about to be pushed this next week. We haven't. James and I have.
That was where you say yes, James. Oh, you do contribute. To
yes,
me.
James,
challenge
you do.
Me and you help me.
You definitely challenge me in many ways.
Thanks. That felt really sincere.
Love you.
I really felt warmth from you just then.
Yeah, no problem, Bob.
As his body shivers from the sheer amount of coldness coming from his wife.
So, James and I have planning meetings. Some are more efficient than others. This one's about to be very efficient. After we do this podcast, after dinner, we're going to have an in-depth planning meeting. And fam, you better get your butt cheeks ready. Okay?
See, why can't you just say, hey, let's have a planning meeting and let's plan for this week? You always say, let's have a planning meeting, and it's going to be the biggest planning meeting ever. We're going to take on so much.
You want me to grow you?
And it's going to be so hardcore. When I hear that, I'm like, sounds stressful.
That's your choice.
Why don't we just have a nice planning meeting?
Nope, this is an extroverted planning meeting. What? This is going to be so
I don't know if it's just you're being a visionary.
I'm a visionary. Look, I have visions, and sometimes they make me have bad. I had a dream. Guys, I had a dream that I saw Snape. And if you guys don't know, Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace, is dead. He had cancer. And why are you laughing? That's not funny.
May rest in peace is dead.
Yeah. So, but I had a legit dream that I saw Snape walking down the street, and he was legit Snape. And I was like,
he had the whole, like, the black get up and everything.
He was floating. And I was like, I thought you were dead. And he
I'd
said,
like to see him order a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
He said, shh. And just kept going, and I was like, oh, snap. I guess that's a secret, but I just told you guys. So Snape is out there, guys.
I'd like a venti caramel frappuccino.
Why does he sound like Obama?
With whipped cream, please.
No,
anyway. Snape never said
Anyway.
He knew what he was saying before
So I saw Snape in real life, in my sleep, in my dreams. I'm a visionary, okay? So get your butt ready, because...
How did those two connect together?
Because I said visionary, and then I was like, I had visions. Oh, I had dreams. Dream is a vision. I had a dream about Snape. Oh, boy. Okay, what's next? What else were we talking about? Well, so, doing the wrong work. Endurance, you just need to have it. That's a quick point.
Oh, my
Treating
God. Hold
each
on.
other.
No. You have to, how do you build endurance and persistence?
Get over it. Next. James and I are two different people.
Oh my gosh. Get over it.
Is that not how you do it? Endurance?
Yes.
When you need to hold your breath longer underwater, you hold it until you pass out.
I get a lot done because of that, and I like it. I think you put yourself in challenging situations over and over until you develop a habit. Yes, I do think that is the one of maybe two primary ways that you build endurance and persistence. Yes. But I think those are important.
Question.
To build. Yes.
When you wrote on this note, did you delete all of the other things that I had on here?
I don't think so. I think I only added.
Okay. Oh, you did. I see what you did there. So.
She was accusing me of things again.
Well, I mean.
You'll be able to hear that in post. Yeah, don't worry about what I said, though.
I'm not going to edit that.
You what? Huh?
I'm not going to edit that louder, just so you know.
No, you can keep it the same volume.
Okay.
It's meant to be just an ASMR whisper.
Okay.
Of condescension.
Thank you, James. Treating each day as a welcome challenge.
Yes.
That's how James wants to go about it. I just, guys, James and I travel so differently.
You're a happier person because you like to think less, I guess. Because you, one of the things that you always say is like, why, it's just simple. Just do it. Like, it's,
just go for it.
And I think that's great. There's a lot of value to that.
Yeah.
Of course. But
James, next week, we did this past week how you wanted to. This next week, it's on.
I just have to like take those statements and let them fly this way. Go into the trees.
For those of you who are listening, he's moving his arms in a weird fashion.
Yeah, push them away. So,
did you just have a stroke?
Treating each day as a welcome challenge for me means that instead of saying, "Crap, this all sucks," like things aren't going right. If you get up in the morning and you say, "This is going to be a challenging day. There are going to be things that come at me that will be challenging. I will welcome them. I will have fun with them. I will do battle. I will succeed." It's the Dwight Schrute method. Whenever he talks about a challenge, he's like, I am going to destroy whatever comes my way.
Guys, The Office is so good.
The Office is great. But his attitude, that's one of the things I love about Dwight is like his sort of let's go get him attitude. It's very specific to him, so you have to go watch an episode of The Office to understand it. Or maybe like 6. Go ahead and watch 5 in a row.
Yeah, watch 6 episodes of The Office. You'll be hooked.
But
this episode brought to you by Dunder Mifflin, the people person's favorite people.
Why are you the way that you are? I said that to you today. We were listening to some music, and Christina was like, "I don't really like this album that much." And I said, "Why are you the way that you are?
What gives you the right?"
And then you said, "What gives you the right?"
I don't know if that's actually what he says.
I think so. I think he said
such an iconic scene.
He said, "What gives you the right?" And he also said, what was it?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
He goes, "Who do you think you are?" And he goes to his other note, "What gives you the right?"
Yeah. But he had to frame it like it wasn't an insult.
He gave him a rock that said, "Suck it."
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fun. Did you guys know this we should do Office trivia. That would be the best episode. So Office trivia. Did you guys know that Michael Scott in real life, whose name is Michael Scott, is actually married to his realtor in real life? Steve Carell is married to
That's amazing.
the realtor for Michael Scott, the person that sold him the condo.
I remember you telling me that the other day.
They're married in real life. Mm-hmm. I saw them together. So Steve Carell hosted an episode at SNL, and he said something about his...
me when treating every day as a welcome challenge.
James, let me finish. This is so important. This is more important than welcoming challenges. So when, what's his face? Steve Carell... Mm-hmm. He hosted SNL. He asked his wife to come down, and I was like, she looks familiar. And then I watched an episode of The Office, and I was like, wait a second.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
These nuts. I wonder if that's where they met. Got him. Okay, so treating each day as a welcome challenge. Give me your intellectual thoughts,
I was just going to say
James.
One thing that that has really changed the game for me.
I think my grandmother's cooking. Do you smell that?
She probably is.
I told her don't cook anything, and I think she's cooking. And it smells so good.
She came over to you. We've been here 3 times. We haven't even spoken about that. The second time we came here was to film this podcast. Yeah. And we forgot the bases for the mic stands. So we were trying to find, there's like some bases over there. You were trying to stick the mic stand in the base so we keep it up. We finally decided we just had to come back, which Christina's grandparents don't mind. The grandmother in Moana is her grandmother. Straight up, except not like Polynesian or wherever they were from.
No, instead of Polynesian, she's Haitian.
Yeah. But yeah, she just walked over to, we were eating dinner, and she just kind of slowly meandered over to the table and sat down some juice, a whole giant,
it wasn't even open,
half liter of juice or whatever, sat it down and just walked off. She didn't even say, "Do you want some juice?" She was just like,
"Yeah,
this is for you."
She's the best.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
She's literally one of the most extroverted people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, maybe that's where I get it from.
Yeah, she's fun. thank you for letting us use your... She should start charging us fees.
No, she's like, oh, this is your home. You know where everything is.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Yes. Creativity.
I have realized on this trip, one of my I have internal projects that I'm always taking on to better myself. And these are nonstop. Like, if I could define my life...
and these are stop.
If I could define my life...
The podcast just ends.
Whatever my life is on a daily basis, like what my days look like in my mind, it's nonstop internal improvement projects. And what I'm realizing on this trip is to stop...
collaborate?
Thinking so much about things, stop analyzing so much, which is always in some version or another something I'm trying to do, and have fun with the process of taking on the challenge. Like, treat it almost as a game. Really enjoy it. Enjoy when you're talking to a bunch of different people and you have to figure out how to navigate this social situation, or when you have a video that you need to work on, or just have more fun with the day every second. And people, I sound like that kid for the freaking meme. You do, and then you die. Is that what he said? Where was I at?
Tourette's is not funny, James. Tourette's is a serious illness, and I think King Arthur had it.
Did he really?
Yeah, there's a movie. It's called...
an article.
The King's Speech.
Oh, yeah, that was King Arthur.
Was it?
Ooh, police officer. Are we about to be in some cops?
I don't know, but we might need to go inside because this is Miami.
Yeah, if we hear gunshots, we gotta get down.
We'll do the podcast from under the table.
Yes.
Because the show must go on. Oh my gosh,
this could turn into an episode of Cops. That would be so fun. Live PD.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
I was saying treat it like a game, and then
you were moving on to the last point.
Just like I operate.
Come on, that was funny.
I've operated so much better. I'm just saying something important here, Christina.
Excuse me. Go ahead. In a moment. Continue speaking.
I feel so much better when I'm in an obsessive and enthusiastic state about life, whatever I'm up to, whatever's in front of me. If I enjoy it more, if I choose to find a way to enjoy it more, which is hard work. It's not just you just enjoy it more. It's like you have to practice this all day long. It takes a lot of energy to put my mind in that state where I'm just enjoying things. And not overthinking them. When I do that, I feel so much better, and I operate better, and I do things that I didn't know I could do. Like I respond to something, like maybe I say something super clever, and I'm just like, wow, good job, James. Whoa!
I didn't know I was so clever.
Okay, crap. What is it called when this is hilarious that I'm blanking on this particular thing.
Impressive.
When you get up, improv. It took me forever to figure out the word improv.
That was the worst.
As I'm talking in an improvisational way.
All right.
Dear God. I'm an improvisational comedian. This is great.
My name's Jeff.
I love that. And that's one of the things that
Can you get your elbows off the table because it's shaking the table and it's making a cracking sound and that's driving me crazy.
Put them behind my back. That's one of the things that I have been reminded of on this trip. And I think it's helped me kind of not be in such a crappy mood, which I can get in sometimes. And I'm sorry for whenever I am.
I'm glad that you have finally admitted it.
Don't crap on me, Christina.
Don't crap on your crap.
Vulnerable moment.
Wait, hold on. Because we said crap a lot. Don't crap on your admission of crapping mood. I don't know. Okay, so crack. Cocaine. So something that James and I
was cracking my knuckles.
He was cracking cocaine. It's a long story.
Yeah.
Cops. I think this is a phrase that will ring true for us till the day we die. Is about pacing specifically. The pacing of our life, the pacing of our trips, the pacing of how fast we go to the grocery store is we will go as fast as we need to go and we will go as slow as we need to go.
Beautiful.
That works, I think, so far. Maybe.
New concept.
It's a new concept. It's in beta.
It's strong.
So that's kind of how
it's vague enough that it could, it could apply to most situations.
From the sound of this episode, like to go at 1,000 miles per hour at all times. James likes to go at 900. That's not true. He likes to go a lot slower. Our pacing is different.
I like to constantly be present at whatever I'm doing. I just like to I like to focus on different areas.
Right.
Like I like to focus on the nourishment part and then the work part.
I like to work first and then nourish. We just do things differently.
Yeah.
And
or vice versa. I mean,
that's gorgeous and beautiful and yay marriage. But something that we said while we were in Charleston preparing for the trip is we need to have fun. We need to not stress each other out, and we need to go as fast as we need to go and as slow as we need to go. And just so you know, next week we need to go as fast as Christina goes. Don't do your best, do my best. Adam Carolla, anybody? No? Nothing? Okay. But yeah, I think that's a fun phrase. I like that phrase, but
don't do your best, do my best.
Yeah, don't do your best, do my best. That I would love to be a motto that we use, but I just don't think that's healthy for us. But that would be a nirvana.
Yeah.
Or pandemonium, actually. Who knows? You see those things over there?
Nirvanamonium.
Those little things, they're like cocoons.
There's a lot of things behind us.
You see the little cocoons over there? Those are cocoons. I think they're like moth cocoons or something. They're everywhere in Florida. It's kind of disgusting. Anyway.
You've seen like caterpillar nests, haven't you? You ever seen those?
Caterpillar nests? I don't know.
Caterpillar.
Hold on. James thinks that I say caterpillar wrong. Do I say caterpillar wrong? Just take a listen and just think about it.
I think what needs to be said about that particular topic has been said by now.
Caterpillar.
In this past 15 seconds.
That was an exaggeration.
Have you seen a caterpillar nest before?
No.
They're up in trees.
That's disgusting.
They're like big web nests. We used to have them all in our yard.
Ew.
It's it's super like alien weird looking.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you one day.
Guys, I'm excited to be in Florida. I'm excited to make all the stuff that I've been dreaming about making, and hopefully you enjoy it. We are planning a trip, a group expedition, and I'm excited for it, and I'm nervous, but it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Sometimes my ambitions are greater than my abilities, and that's when it's time to grow. So that's I think that's the point that I want to leave everyone off of. If you haven't yet sent a carrier pigeon to your brother in Rwanda, do that. Just so you guys know, because he's waiting. He's been waiting for years.
It's a very common experience for Americans, so I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm not talking about me or you. You realize that, right? I'm talking about the listeners.
That's what I'm saying.
The listeners have
a lot of people experience that.
The listeners have a brother in Rwanda, and he's been waiting next to his Rwandan mailbox. Mm-hmm. And every time the Rwandan postal man comes by, he goes, "Where's my letter from my American brother and or sister?"
Yep.
And you guys don't send it to him, and that's really disrespectful.
Yeah.
And really, the only way that you could make up for all of those years lost is if you leave a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to the podcast. Wow. I think I've spoken with your Rwandan brother who's been waiting. Let me rewind you. Oh gosh. Let me remind you, he's been waiting.
Wow.
And the only way that God, I hate you. I'm going to turn your mic down.
Don't turn me down.
I turned you down.
Wow.
Okay, you're going to be turned back up.
You're the one going on about Rwanda over there, and you're turning me down?
Yeah, because the Rwandan brother has been waiting, and the only way they can make up for it is if they rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, iTunes doesn't exist, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. because that's popular.
For every rate and review, we will send a letter to somewhere in Rwanda.
That's not true. That's your job because he's your brother and he's been waiting, guys. I'm getting frustrated with our listeners and I shouldn't be.
So many brothers in Rwanda don't get a letter every day from their brother and or sister.
Rate and review, creating things together.
Why would you keep them waiting? Why would you make them suffer more than unnecessarily?
I don't know if you knew this.
It's my Morgan Freeman impression. Did you like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you knew this, but this other listener that's listening right now, I know who you are. I see you. I'm listening to you. Listen to me. He has a cousin from Nepal, and his cousin sent me a message on Twitter.
The guy we met?
No. Our listeners.
Our listeners.
So
our listeners have a cousin in Nepal.
They have a brother in Rwanda and a cousin in Nepal.
All of them?
All of them. Same cousin and same brother.
We have curated quite a niche demographic here.
Well, anyway, so this cousin shot me a message on Instagram, and the message, James, if you're not going to let me tell this story, then it's the delivery.
Doesn't make any sense.
Do I need to start over and go to another country?
No, carry on.
Okay, so Mr. Nepal, he sent me a message and he said, "Listeners, I need you to follow Christina and James on Instagram and Twitter." Their links are in the show notes. And I said, dude, that was so nice of you to mention that. And I'll make sure to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about at this point. I think we need to end it.
I thought it was very coherent. Hey, you guys have a lovely day. Thank you so much for listening. Please feel free to go into our backlog and learn more about what we think is important in life, because what we think is important is it's been certified by the president of Rwanda.
Yeah. And he's such a nice guy. He's actually my brother. That's not true. That's a lie. That one was a lie. Everything else was the truth. So, subscribe, rate and review, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Don't do that. Anyway, goodbye, guys.
Brush your teeth with fluoride toothpaste. Goodbye.
Bye.